Let's talk about what's going on, though, in the Northeast, as I want to talk right now about the Gateway Tunnel project, as funding, at least part of it, is now getting re-upped as it will be sent to the states New York and New Jersey. A live picture right now at parts of the area that will be impacted, that will be aided by this. And during a court conference on Friday, lawyers representing the Department of Transportation said that funds are being approved and will likely take through the holiday weekend to reach the state's Department of Justice. Lawyers said the DOT has done everything it can to process those requests. Let's continue on, bringing in the conversation right now, Chris Marquette with Politico, covering all the transportation stories there. Chris, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And obviously, it was slightly delayed getting to him through the legal system. Where do we stand right now? Why is this important?
Yeah, so the amount of money, $30 million, has been given to the Gateway project, which is this project, this enormous transportation infrastructure project that connects New York City with New Jersey, under the Hudson River. And the purpose is to build out more tunnels for rail traffic, Amtrak, commuters. That's how a lot of people get from Jersey to New York on a day-to-day basis. So it's a huge arterial route for commuters. And I just gotta, kind of back it up a little bit. And how this all started is the government shutdown back in the fall. President Trump, the Trump administration, paused the federal funding for this $16 billion Gateway project when the shutdown started, as a way to kind of turn the screws on Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats who were holding out for that shutdown. And ever since that, it's been, the project has been dwindling down and down in terms of construction work. And on February 6th, that work stopped because the federal funding dried up. And what happened was a bunch of emergency court hearings. And basically, a federal judge, Jeanette Vargas, ordered that the Trump administration needs to start paying out that money. And what happens is the federal government has to reimburse the Gateway Development Corporation for construction. So they were out about $205 million. And that recent infusion of money has been $30 million. So they have gotten $30 million thus far. They have yet to receive the $205 million. And there's a status conference on Tuesday before that same federal judge to see how things are progressing. But they are expected to get the full $205 million that they're owed by Wednesday.
All right, very good. I was going to ask you where this stemmed from, but you did paint a good picture, give some context to where we're looking at right now. I was also curious because the judge said these funds are now unfrozen, but the timeline provided certain that the timeline date, you said Tuesday and Wednesday. Could that timeline change? Is that a possibility?
So DOT has said that they're complying with the order, and there were some bureaucratic, impediments to getting the money over, but they've gotten that initial flush of $30 million. And, barring some sort of argument by the Trump administration as to why they should not continue funding that project, we have no reason to believe that the rest of that money won't be there by Wednesday. That's
all right, very good. And you mentioned that it was Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Kathy Hochul involved. We heard New Jersey Governor Mikie Sherrill. They're also speaking to this, putting pressure on the Trump administration. Did it come with that pressure? Was that pressure successful from some of those key Democrats in the Northeast to make this funding move through?
That's hard to say. I think what really made the difference here is a federal judge ordered the Department of Transportation to release this money. And I think what it does is it shows you that, Schumer, Sherrill, Hochul, and a bunch of people in the, elected officials in the area were absolutely advocating for this. But at the end of the day, the people that could make the Trump administration actually fork over this money is the judicial branch, and I think that's underscored by what happened with Judge Vargas.
And that's exactly what happened in terms of this judge making that ruling. I want to ask you, because you also talked about just the importance of this Gateway Tunnel project and its different tentacles throughout the Northeast and the Big Apple. How instrumental is it, and how much is it needed for New York, New Jersey to have this? Because we know the bustling metropolis that is the Big Apple, so many millions of people. How important is this infrastructure?
I mean, anybody who commutes into work around that area knows that driving in is just an absolute hassle. And if I mean, a lot of commuters in the area absolutely depend on public transportation, and that's a huge route in which a lot of people can move in and out of the city. And if this project is not completed, there's a lot of issues in terms of structural problems, and it's old, and it needs to be done. So it's like um, nobody is saying that this isn't like an important project. I think it's just it's gotten tied up into this political back and forth, unfortunately.
Yeah, obviously, between Republicans and Democrats, we've had two other shutdowns, at least partial shutdowns, since that initial one that threw that first hurdle in the way of this Gateway Tunnel project. Chris, obviously, Tuesday and Wednesday are very important days in terms of this moving forward. What else are you keeping your eye on?
I think let's see if that entire $205 million gets to the Gateway Development Corporation by Wednesday. And also, there's an appeal by the Trump administration with the federal appellate court. So they're set to hear arguments on that the week of February 23rd. So I would look out for that and how that appellate court rules.
All right, that is, I believe, the eve of the State of the Union as well. So plenty to get to. So Chris Marquette, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate your time. Lots to cover with this story in the Northeast. Thanks again.